There we go. Good. All right. On Instagram Live, also on Facebook Live, on Deep Dish Football Facebook. Again, if you are watching this and you have a question, please go on the Deep Dish Football Facebook page and comment to me. If you have any questions, I will answer the questions at the end of the thing. If I see some questions that rouse my interest, I will talk about them well. But this is Deep Dish Football Live, episode 4, week 4. If you don't know my name is Peter Lineberg, a.k.a. Coach Big Pete of Deep Dish Football. Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm publisher of Deep Dish Football. Visit deepdishfootball.com. Deep Dish Football polls are out. Check them out on deepdishfootball.com of Games of the Weeks. The polls are out. There's a link on the Facebook chat on the bottom. You'll see that is loud as fuck. That's loud. I apologize for that. Sorry about that one. And again, my email is coachbigpete@fp@gmail.com. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Again, September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. That's why if you like my work, feel free to leave a donation tip to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, as this month, September, is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month or Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. Please just check it out. They do a wonderful job, and they help a lot of kids. They help a lot of families in need. That need to pay the bills for their child's condition. Please check it out, St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And again, September's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. That's why you see the yellow ribbon and everything else. All right, hopefully did I get this one right? I did get it. Sorry about that. Got a few pages in the back. All right. And as we get into the thing, again, Breakfast with Coach Big Pete is on Saturday, 9 a.m. DuPage Run and Shoot Show with my co-host, Patrick Codo. The great Patrick Codo, who does a wonderful job out of Naperville Community Access Television. He's going to be a hell of a reporter for the future. Went to SIU, and he is awesome. He's just really awesome. I'm going to have him as my co-host. And we will be talking DuPage County football. We also talk IHSA football, too, so check it out. The episode gets published tomorrow night if YouTube is not being a complete asshole to me. And it's absolute pain in the ass to load videos on YouTube right now for some weird reason. Anything else? Am I forgetting anything else? No, not really. Okay. Oh, next week is a bye week. No Deep Dish Football Game of the Week. I will be at Downers Grove, North First York. I'm excited about that. We'll be talking about that as well. All right. And as we get into the news type of section, and again, the polls are out for Deep Dish Football. Make sure you check it out on deepdishfootball.com. So the first thing, and the big thing that I'm going to talk about too, is the Nazareth incident where our coach got suspended for touching a kid. I've seen the video. I'm still trying to look at the video, and I have no doubt that's something that happened. So that coach has been suspended. People have been claiming he should be fired. I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be let go. He will be let go by Nazareth football. I think that's pretty much the right move. You can't touch the kids. You can't do any of that crap. It's just part of the things that have always happened. And I have no doubt. Again, Tim Rackey runs a clean program. So no doubt about that. He will be. He'll get the axe. No doubt about that. And for Nazareth, again, it's unwanted attention. So we'll see what happens there. Next, 1 and 2 teams, and again, I talk about this huge 1 and 2 teams. And I've been through it too, coaching. 1 and 2 teams to me, and I say this again. This is a big week for them because they usually can gain some momentum going into that week 8 and week 9. If they have a shot at the playoffs, that is going to be huge for that team. Again, week 8, week 9, but with those 1 and 2 teams, you're going to see a bunch of them come up and they're going to start kicking ass. No doubt about it. Especially, I'm looking at 1 and 2 teams with a good defensive game for this weekend. I'm looking at that. I'm really strongly looking at that. I think some of the 1 and 2 teams that we talk about, I think Batavia is definitely one of them, but I think Batavia is good anyway, so it doesn't matter. But again, There's going to be teams that are going to rise to the limits, and especially if you look at the defensive game, and again, those teams that do not have great defensive communication, usually when we get to the playoffs, it's usually one and done for them, or two and done for them. So again, big thing, communication on defense that I talk about. Offensive line play, another huge thing as well. And a quarterback that doesn't have wild eyes. And what do I mean by a quarterback that doesn't have wild eyes? A quarterback that's trying to pass a touchdown on every pass and turns over the ball. Those quarterbacks absolutely kill a team. So we will see what happens. But again, I'm really looking at this weekend. I think this is going to be important a weekend for 1 and 2 teams. I also am looking really at Mount Carmel, Loyola Academy. I see them as a big proving point. They proved a lot, but there's still that little thing, that little doubt that's still there. But I think they're going to prove it. But definitely going to be watching them. Also going to be looking at as well York versus DGN, deep dish football game of the week. That's one of the big games too in the West Suburban Conference. And again, can either one of those put an end to Glenbard West? Because Glenbard West right now is looking like a world beater right now, honestly. So we will see what happens. All right, so we get into the deep dish football games of the week. Downers Grove North versus York. Sam Reichert is a quarterback from DGN that you must know about. He is looking unbelievable for this Trojan team. Also, defense is playing lights out too for DGN. The big thing for DGN 2 will be Noah Battle, and on York for me, Watson, the running back. It's going to be a big running. I think it's going to be a little bit of a big round game to me personally. I see the quarterbacks picking up the passing in the second quarter going into the third quarter, but I think the first quarter we're going to get a nice little ground game as usual for big school games like that. It usually happens with the ground game. Also, paying very close attention to as well as York's defensive line. How can they find a way to make those mountains go away against York? Because that York offensive line, those are some big boys. I'm telling you that right now. And York's defense has only allowed 7 points in 3 games. I know Schaumburg, Morden, and Proviso West. I know people are going to say that, yes, that's true. But again, this is an interesting matchup. This Downers Grove North team, there's a lot of excitement, especially with the younger cats, freshman and sophomore, Charlie Cruz. He's not, I don't think they're playing on the varsity level. They're playing on the under level. Owen Lansu, who's going to be one of the top quarterbacks in the state of Illinois. So again, Coach Rooney's doing the right thing. Coach Fitzgerald on York's side of the ball, he's doing awesome things too. And they have a great group of youngsters too. And Joseph Reif, who's a defensive end, he's going to be a star in the state of Illinois too. So this is going to be an excellent game. I'm more excited. My final thoughts come tomorrow for the deep dish football game of the week. York versus DGM. Next game, Mount Carmel versus Marist. Marist gets their first loss, and that was the Glenbard West team. They take on a Mount Carmel team that looks unbelievable. They are just absolutely kicking everyone's ass in. And Marist, again, like I said before, and I said before the season, Jamel Howard is an absolute monster. He kills offensive lines. He kills offensive game planning. The big thing is, again, how do you stop that man up the middle? And he is an absolute pain in the ass for offensive line coaches. So it's going to be a good game as Marist takes on Mount Carmel. And again, Mount Carmel, to me, looking especially is their passing attack and how they pass the ball against that Marist secondary. I think that's going to be huge. Loyola versus Brother Rice. Brother Rice is they had a tough time with Bennett, but still won the game. Loyola Academy is looking unbelievable. Again, I'm looking at Loyola Academy. I'm looking at their wide receivers and their defensive backs and how they place against the skill spots of Brother Rice. That's going to be another huge game right there. Stillman Valley versus Dixon. Stillman Valley, if I'm not mistaken, yes, Stillman Valley's undefeated. So is Dixon. 2 big games out west. Definitely keep an close eye out for Dixon. Stillman Valley with the big win over Bryan in the first week. So definitely a thing that you got to keep an eye out for. No doubt about that. Big shout out to my boy 23K Visuals. He does a wonderful job. He has a great show on Sunday. Check him out, 23K Visuals. He's on Instagram. He's also on Twitter. Guy's awesome. Check him out, 23K Visuals. Good job. Genoa Kingston versus Bryan. It's another big game. Bryan got that one loss, but again, This could be an emerging team, especially we get into the later weeks when we get into week 8 and week 9. Genoa Kingston, I love the ground game. The big thing I want to see is a lot more from their secondary as well. Flora versus Fairfield. This is Fairfield's. This is almost their last chance. Fairfield is playing a tough Flora team. It's 3-0, and Fairfield is 1-2 if I'm not mistaken. Again, in the Black Diamond Conference, Johnson City is kicking ass. Flora's kicking ass. Carmel White County's kicking ass. So the Fairfield's got to win this game. This is a definite win. Next game, one of the weirdest games I have ever seen in my life being scheduled. But it's a great game, though. Richmond Burden takes on Normal West. Holy crap. You got Normal West right now that has an unbelievable defense, stifling defense. I mean, they're playing big dog defense, and in high school football, it's tough. It's tough to get kids to play defense. They're playing defense. I looked at some of their huddles, completely flabbergasted. Good communication, again. Good coverage, again. Good hip tracing by the defensive backs. Defensive linemen, they're getting pressure. This is a great team, this Normal West team. This Richmond Burden team is also one hell of a team as well. Underrated quarterback, always a great running game. Their guy, who's the guy? He got 7 touchdowns, Siegel. He got 7 touchdowns last week. So Richmond Burden versus Normal West is a big dog game that you cannot sleep on. I think this could be one of the best games in the state of Illinois, top 5 at least. It's that impressive. It really is that impressive. Normal versus Peoria is always a big rivalry game. I think Peoria is a little bit on a hot streak, and I think Peoria is the rising and upcoming team. For Normal, they've had some tough losses. Normal West, and they lost to O'Fallon as well. So we'll see what happens there. I think it's going to be an interesting game, but we'll see how Normal's defense contains that Peoria offense. Salem versus East Elton Wood is another big-time game. Salem with their basically north-south running, good attack running 2 game against East Elton Wood, who is undefeated, and an interesting team when we get into that lower class of 3A. If I'm not mistaken, yes, I think it's 3A. Big game. Salem has got a star player in Green. He's a quarterback / athlete. Definitely a kid that you need to know. Thoughts on Homewood, Flossmoor, and Lockport? I think I have that game here. Homewood, Flossmoor, and Lockport's going to be a good game. I mean, I think you got to look at Lockport right now. I think Jalen Falcon's playing lights out. I think he's having a hell of a season. Hyatt, he's another star player for Lockport. Homewood, Flossmoor's a team on the rise. There's parts there, but there's still missing some parts on a Homewood, Flossmoor team. I think it's going to be a tough game. But I'm going to give the slightest little favor to Lockport. But if Lockport loses, would I be surprised? Not really. No, not really at all. Nazareth versus Niles Notre Dame. Nazareth needs this win. Niles Notre Dame, they got absolutely shut up by Mount Carmel last week. And with the news and that about Nazareth Academy, they want to get something into the headlines of them winning. So definitely this is going to be a big game as we get into this Friday night. Again, more games on Thursday tomorrow. There's some big games, especially in the suburban Southwest Prairie Conference, Yorkville and all them. Again, referees shortage, and there's also a stadium that's being reconditioned, if I'm not mistaken. So that's the reason why. Also, some games up north. Maine South's game is on a Thursday as well. So we'll continue, and we will talk about that too. Just a quick reminder again. This is September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Please, if you like my work, if you hate my work, if you hate me, please donate to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, as September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And a quick reminder for everyone watching on Facebook, so I can see your comments, you have to message me on the Deep Dish Football Facebook page. Just a quick reminder as well. All right, so after that, we get to Carmel St. Viator. St. Viator is undefeated. Not the schedule, not that much of a surprise. You sort of figured that St. Viator could have had a shot at 3-0. They take on a tough Carmel team who is looking unbelievable. Johnny Weber, stud quarterback. Good youth too, sophomores and juniors. And when I talk about, I'm saying Carmel right now. they can make a nice little run this year, but I think next year that's going to be the big year for them. I think it's going to be a huge year for them. But Carmel, Corsair football is back, baby, and it's well deserved. It's needed, and so is St. Viator too. St. Viator being good isn't a good thing for high school football in Illinois. Marmion Academy versus St. Ignatius. Marmion Academy suffers a tough loss to Montaigne last week. St. Ignatius looks good. They had a tough loss in their schedule as well. Again, Marmion Academy, we'll see what happens. I really think, again, for St. Ignatius, again, they got to stop Lim and they got to stop Ryan Perel. That's going to be a huge assignment. Shelbyville versus Tuscola. Tuscola is undefeated. Shelbyville is undefeated too. Both are 3-0. Definitely a big-time game in Central Illinois. And those Shelbyville Rams have always impressed me. I've always liked to talk great about the Shelbyville Rams. I think, again, with Tuscola, they got a hell of a player in Jordan Quinn. So this is going to be a good game. Definitely a game you got to check out for. Naperville North versus Neuqua Valley. High school Neuqua Valley had that tough loss week 2 to Wheaton-Warrenville South. Naperville North, again, looking like world beaters. Aiden Gray, unbelievable. Offensive line play always on top. Ryan Anderson, linebacker for Naperville North, is probably one of the most underrated linebackers in the state of Illinois, and a name that you must know. So definitely a game to check out. Wilmington versus Piatone. Piatone is undefeated. Wilmington is undefeated. Again, the thing that scares me about this game is this. I'm going to say this right now. Wilmington, after the championship game, the year after, it was 2015, they had a few upsets where they were games that they were supposed to win. I'm going to put this game on upset alert. If I'm wrong, Wilmington, I'll eat crow and you can call me an idiot. But I think Piatone's got a great chance of upsetting Wilmington. But we will see, because this Wilmington team, I really believe, can go for that second straight title. Ottawa versus Sycamore, both undefeated teams. Ottawa, unbelievable. Their quarterback doing a good job. Ryder Miller as well, another big-time player for the Ottawa Pirates. Sycamore undefeated. Eli Meyer, star quarterback. So definitely a game that you must know up north. Abingdon versus Mercer County. Mercer County's got one loss. Mercer County needs this big win over an Abingdon team that was unbelievable last season, and they definitely need to win against Mercer County this week. Washington versus Pekin. Pekin Dragons are unbelievable. Kanye Tyler, Spreckler as well. They are having a hell of a season, both of them. It's just a two-headed running back beast there. Washington's defense is going to have they got to have a great day because it is tough. And again, big shout to the Pekin offensive line too. They deserve more respect than they're getting. Grays Lake Central versus Grays Lake North. Undefeated, two undefeated teams, rivalry game. Grays Lake Central, good with Jaden Miller. Grays Lake North, 3 highly recruited players too. Definitely a big game to keep an eye out for. They also got Jacob Donahue on Grays Lake North. Undersized, but an absolute stud at quarterback. Hancock versus Macomb. Macomb is undefeated. Can Hancock get that upset? This is going to be a big-time game. Macomb is looking unbelievable. The Bombers, their passing attack, their passing attack and their rushing attack is working. Would like to see a little bit more. I think this Hancock team is a serious team. We will see what happens in this game. Centralia versus Carbondale. The Carbondale Terriers and Centralia Orphans, always a big game. For the past seasons, it's always been the interesting game. Because two players have come out of that game as the player of the night in the state of Illinois. They usually have one big game. And again, quick reminder, for everyone, I need your stats at the end of the Friday's game. If you have any big stats, nominate your player for Deep Dish Football Player of the Night in the state of Illinois, IHSA. Please let me know if you had a player that had big stats. Also, again, I need those stats by Saturday night. I do my Sunday conclusion article. If you have any stats, I want to be featured as one of the stars, and you had a big game, please, I beg of you, let me know. DM me, tweet at me, email me at coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. Evergreen Park versus Richards. Richards gets the big first win last week. I forgot the team. It's blinking my mind. Richards got a big win last week. I apologize for that. They take on Evergreen Park. Evergreen Park is undefeated. Big time game for Richards. If Richards gets this win again, they pull off and Coach Sheehan's happy. And this team looks like another conference title in their grasp. Bradley Bourbonnais versus Lincoln Way West. Lincoln Way West. Again, 2-1 with Cole Crafton. Bradley Bourbonnais. This has always been the big game with Bradley Bourbonnais for Lincoln Way West, and sort of a predictor of the future of how Bradley Bourbonnais starts off his program in that week for after weeks of week 4. Definitely a big time game. Bradley Bourbonnais, keep an eye out for that quarterback Cole. He's a star in the making. Cole Crafton, star quarterback in Lincoln Way West. And also Malone, too, is another player you got to keep an eye out for. And May from Bradley Bourbonnais as well. Lions versus OPRF. Always a great game. OPRF, the big surprise team this year. And this OPRF defense is getting at it. And Nichols is having a hell of a game as well. And Gooch, a 2 quarterback. He's another big-time player for OPRF. Lions Township, Jackson at quarterback. He's having an unbelievable season. Offensive line looking really strong this year. With Zarko, just awesome kid, great kid, and a hell of a player too. Taking on this tough OPRF team is going to be huge. And if Lions Township, I think this is a game that sets them from middle tier to upper tier. Whoever gets the win, I think this is going to be a big game, especially in that division race. And I know OPRF had that tough loss to Glenbard West last week. I do know that. Next, Camp Point Central versus Brown County. Camp Point Central, undefeated. Coach Dixon getting the job done. We will see with this game again. For Camp Point Central, again, I think the biggest secret is going to be how they pass against this Brown County defense that looks pretty good from what I saw off of Huddle. Palatine versus Glenbrook South. Palatine undefeated. Glenbrook South, I believe, is undefeated if I'm not mistaken, too. Palatine playing unbelievable football. Hell of a tight end in Farrell. Oh, no, I'm sorry, he left. He left. Jalen Williams. And it's looking good. It's really looking good for Palatine. Glenbrook South, just unbelievable right now. Plainfield South versus Plainfield North, big rivalry game. Plainfield North, unbelievable. Demir Ashura is absolutely killing it right now for Plainfield North. It depends again on what that Plainfield South defense and how they respond and how they stop that dominant running game of Plainfield North. Plainfield East versus Yorkville, again, is tomorrow, Thursday. Plainfield East, this is a big-time game for them. Yorkville is looking really good this year. I think, again, Coach McGuire, he's doing a wonderful job for that Yorkville program. And, again, with Plainfield East and for Yorkville's, again, how do they stop Brandon Paradise in their passing attack? Brandon Paradise had another big-time game. Star quarterback for Plainfield East and a highly recruited quarterback and a multiple sports star, Brandon Paradise. Paredes, I apologize if I mispronounced the name. And another big game tomorrow. This is tomorrow, by the way. Thursday, Prospect takes on Maine South. Prospect and Coach DeBuff, unbelievable right now, undefeated. Maine South's only got one loss, and that was to Warren Township. So, again, we're looking at a big-time battle. And again, with this Maine South team, it's going to be dependent on the passing attack and also, again, the pressure that they can put on that prospect passing attack. Can he get the sacks? That's going to be huge. And Dan DeBuff, again, young, up-and-coming coach, and definitely a big name that you got to check out for Maine South. Hey, Sincero. He's one of the all-time great coaches in the state of Illinois. This is going to be a great matchup tomorrow. All right, so we get into questions. Do we have any questions here? I already talked about HF Lockport, my man. Who is the best quarterback in the state of Illinois? Chet Zinka of Lockport. The best quarterback in Illinois right now. Jeez, that's tough. Max Lynch from Panos, he's having a hell of a season. Max Lynch from Panos, he's absolutely killing it at the scoreboard. He's having a great game. He's having a great season. Aiden Gray, that's another guy. Jake Sterney of Loyola Academy, he started that first week. He absolutely killed it. He's having a hell of a season too. Veza as well from York. He's having a good season too. Who else? Jacob McPherson from Reed Custer. He's also having a good season too. It's actually a good question. I'm trying to think of any other quarterbacks. The quarterback out of Rochester, he's steadily improving too. Ty Lott from Sacred Heart Griffin is unbelievable. The wide receivers that he has, Ty Lott's looking good. Elijah Owens of Jacksonville, unbelievable right now. Who else? Colton Gamino of Hersey, he's having a big season as well. Yes. I'm trying to think of anybody else. Anybody else in the Southern Illinois region, too. I'm trying to think of anybody in the Southern Illinois region. Robert Battle, East St. Louis, he's... yeah. It's on and off, on and off, on and off. St. Charles... St. Charles North quarterback, the guy that he replaced Plum, he's going to have... I think he's going to have a good season. I think this was the right moment. I think for Plum, it's a learning lesson for him. I'm trying to think of any other quarterbacks. Rockford Boylan, Connor Dennis. He's going to be a steadily improved quarterback too. Simeon's quarterback. I forgot his name. Simeon's quarterback is the kid to watch out as well. Simeon scares the living crap out of me. They're going to kick ass. I'm telling you that right now. Who wins the 1A right now? Steven Talvenka of Springfield. Who wins 1A right now? Oh, that's tough. I'm going to say Lena Winslow. I'm going to go with Lena Winslow. I think Lena Winslow has the players to win 1A right now. That's my personal feeling. I think Lena Winslow is the big dogs. No doubt about that. That is about it. I think we're done with questions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them online. Instagram live audience, Deep Dish Football live audience on Facebook. You have to ask the questions on Deep Dish Football Facebook page. I can't answer them on Coach Big Pete page because I can't see them. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. No questions here. Any questions on... Game of the week is Downers Grove North versus York. Homewood Flossmoor versus Lockport. Man, come on. We already talked about that. It's going to be a good game. Yeah, that's about it. Again, if you like the work, please leave a donation tip to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, as September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. I got the link everywhere. IHSA polls, Deep Dish Football, IHSA polls are out 1A to 8A on deepdishfootball.com. Check it out. Please check it out as well. DuPage Run and Shoot Show tomorrow with my co-host Patrick Codo. We'll be talking action tomorrow at whenever the video gets published by 9 p.m. hopefully on DuPage Run and Shoot. Make sure you follow it on Twitter and Facebook. Follow me and Deep Dish Football on Twitter, Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. How you doing, Instagram live audience? I'm also on TikTok too, and follow and subscribe to the YouTube channel too on Deep Dish Football, Coach Big Pete. Visit deepdishfootball.com. And again, please, I'm begging of you recruits, and players, send your big game stats. I need those big game stats for nominations for Player of the Night in the state of Illinois. DM me, tweet at me, email me at coachbigpetefp@gmail.com. And again, coaches and all that, make sure I have the kids' huddles for Tuesday for scouting notes. I also need big performance stats by Saturday night because my article, the Sunday conclusion article, comes out on Sunday. And again, Deep Dish Football Game of the Week next week is a bye. I'm be busy, and so I'll be a bye next week. And after that, I believe it's Nazareth versus St. Rita is the Deep Dish Football Game of the Week for week 6. But week 5 is a bye. And that is about it. If you have any questions, if you want anything else, email me, coachbigpetefp@gmail.com, DM me, tweet at me, and again, tweet at me, huddles, I'll tweet them. My scouting notes come out Tuesday to college coaches. I send them out. So, again, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for joining Deep Dish Football Live. Thoughts on Prairie Ridge versus Jacobs? I think I talked about that. Prairie Ridge, Jacobs, again, for me, for Jacobs, will be how good their passing attack is against Prairie Ridge's defense, and can they stop that option of Prairie Ridge. Nathaniel Greedham is a pain in the ass of a lot of defenses. He's going to kill Vassy too. Another player from Prairie Ridge. He's an absolute stud as well. Jacobs, you got Steck, underrated quarterback too. But Jacobs versus Prairie Ridge is definitely a big time game. I don't do picks. I do picks on DuPage run and shoot if I'm forced to. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a solid game. And I think if Jacobs wins or Prairie Ridge wins, you got to think, okay, they're the leaders now. And that's about it. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you guys so much for joining, and have a lovely, lovely day.